Okay, here we go. Week 17, no BS. I gotta win the next 2 weeks in order to tie. We'll figure out how to even this up. Texas Tony's beat me by 2 weeks. Whatever. We're gonna jump right into this. Talk a little trash. End this. We're tied so far this week because of these early games, Christmas and day after. Because I picked the Bengals, he picked the Chiefs. Those are the games that we're off. Every other game we picked the same. These are my picks for this week: Philly, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, Indy, New Orleans, Tennessee, Miami, Vikings, Washington, and Detroit. I'm going to go through that real quick. I'm going to give you my picks first like that. You can scram if that's what you're looking for. All right. I'll leave the Philly one to the last one for obvious reasons. All right. Tampa Bay, Carolina. Tampa Bay, even though they got beat last week, Dallas is actually starting to look better. So Tampa Bay is going to bounce back and crush Carolina and try to win the NFC South. Okay, so that's the narrative there. Buffalo's just going to beat the crap out of the Jets. Jets aren't even close to where anybody thought they were potentially going to be with Aaron Rodgers. Buffalo is going to be cruising in. They're going to get the number 2 seed in the playoffs. Start building some momentum. So there's all this Kansas City versus Buffalo championship game thing coming. So they're going to crush the Jets. The Giants are horrible, so I'm pretty much picking anybody against them. Indy still has, I think they have a shot at making the playoffs. There's an outside chance, so they're going to be fighting for that. We'll see. New Orleans and the Raiders both suck. They're both not doing good. I think New Orleans got shut out last week, like 34-0 or something like that. But it's a pretty terrible NFC South. So anything can happen there. So I still will pick New Orleans. Tennessee, Jacksonville. Once again, 2 not so good organizations or teams right now. I'm not going to say organizations. That's a little too deep. But Jacksonville just looks like trash this year. Tennessee has had their ups and downs. So I'm going to go with Tennessee on this one. Miami is starting to heat up. I know Cleveland had their initial boost, the Jameis Winston stuff, and him in the snow and how he just talks. It's just wild. Seems like a nice guy, but man, whatever. I'm going to pick Miami to continue to heat up and build momentum into next season. Green Bay at Vikings. This is the reason why I'm picking the Vikings. I'm picking the Vikings because they need to have this narrative for the last week of the season when the Vikings play against Detroit. I do think Green Bay is a good team. For whatever reason, I just think they're that tier below the top teams in the NFC. And I am put because, look, the Vikings have just been winning. Like, even if it's close games or some things, whatever. And if you look at it, I think earlier in the season they had a bad no call in their end zone that they could have drove the field. Like, they're pretty darn close to having the best record in the league. Just so I'm going to pick the Vikings because they need that. The NFL needs that matchup against Detroit. The winner takes the division and the number 1 seed. It makes for a big last week of the season. Atlanta at Washington. I'm actually picking Washington on this because as much I want to win this bet, and as much as I need and want Atlanta to win this game, I just don't think they have it in them. I think Washington's going to be riding a high. Obviously, as an Eagles fan, I'm going to be saying, hey, look, we were crushing you guys in the first quarter until they kept Hurts out. I have my own thoughts on that. Whatever, it is what it is. This is all entertainment anyway. I don't get too crazy about it nowadays. I think Washington's going to be building momentum, and they want those later games to mean something. Like, they want Philly Giants to actually mean something. They want like Jalen Hurts to come back and destroy the Giants, along with having Saquon potentially break the rushing record, even with an extra game. So that's a little asterisk on there. But they want that last week to mean something. Also, Washington Dallas is going to mean something then if Washington wins this week, because then if Washington wins the next 2 and we lose next 2, let's say they keep Jalen Hurts out for whatever reason, and we lose next 2, we lose the NFC East. Starting out as high as we did, we're going to lose the NFC East. So today's games mean something, and then potentially next week's games mean something. So I want Atlanta to win so bad, but I'm going to pick Washington because I think that's what they need in order for the last week to mean something. Which makes it a little scary because if we beat Dallas, it's a moot point. So come on, pick it. I'll talk about it in a second. And obviously Detroit at San Fran. Once again, like I said back with the Vikings, Detroit and the Vikings need to go head-to-head last week of the season. Even if Detroit loses, but I think Detroit's going to win, but even if Detroit loses, I think they beat the Vikings already earlier in the season, so they would get the tiebreaker. So regardless what happens with this game, last game of the season, winner takes all, takes the NFC North, and takes the number 1 seed in the NFC. Still losing to the Eagles. Doesn't matter. Yes, I'm saying that. Okay, so Dallas at Philly. Dallas is actually starting to pick up pace. Like, I was actually a level of happy to see them beat the Bucs. As happy as I'm going to be ever seeing Dallas winning. But Dallas is actually starting to pick up. And pick up without Dak. Which I'm going to be very honest, as an honest Eagles fan. So today's not like a gimme game. I think they have the ability on defense to keep us off balance, especially going against Pickett this week and not Hurts. Hurts had to make some plays last time against them, and it was a close game at halftime, and then we pulled away later on, but it wasn't a gimme game last time with Hurts in. So let's just be honest about that. I hope my Birds have a great game plan, a lot of misdirection, a lot of creativity from Kellen Moore, especially if this game is being played in Philly. Like, man, we entertainment-wise, I never want to lose to the Dallas Cowboys. No, for whatever reason. Even if Atlanta's beating the doors off of staying in Washington, I still want to beat the crap out of the Cowboys. And the part that you can't make any excuses whatsoever. This is the battle of the backups. You can't say, oh, we don't have Hurts. Well, guess what? They don't have Dak, and Cooper Rush is going to be playing against Kenny Pickett. All the other tools are there. We have the better running back. They have good wide receivers, so do we, so that's, pretty darn close. Offensive line, we have the better offensive line. Then it's going to come down to defense, and their secondary is warming up. Our secondary is good. Defensive line, there's a lot of similarities in this game. So then it also comes down to coaching, and I would like to believe we have a better coaching staff, but Sirianni sometimes has been hit or miss. Like, there's a lot of similarities, and I wish Hurts was playing because then it would be more off balance in our favor, and that's what I want. But this is a pretty close matchup that I want my Birds to beat the living mess out of the Dallas Cowboys. So those are my picks. Those are my thoughts. We're going to just roll with it. Texas Tony, I need to win this week, so our last week means something. If I lose this week, then it's a wrap, and I have to fly out to you next year. Whatever, we'll find a way. But go Birds! Come on, go Birds! Go! Don't! Come on! We got to come on! Like, if there's one game that I want all season, regular season, because then we have the playoffs to worry about. Dallas, you don't. Yeah, let's do it this week. Let's crush the Cowboys with our backup quarterback, with their backup quarterback. No excuses whatsoever. We have the better team in Saquon Barkley. They have enough other things going on where Saquon can just run like crazy here in Philly, clinch the NFC East, and ride ourselves into the playoffs as a number 2 seed in the NFC, waiting for Jalen Hurts to come back, make a run, and win the whole thing. That's what I got today. Go Birds! Beat the Cowboys! Woohoo! Yeah! Give me 2 claps and a Go Birds! Go Birds!